Welcome to the Watchin It podcast. On today's show, we are covering Andor, Season 2, Episodes 7, 8, and 9. Affectionately named Messenger, Who Are You? And Welcome to the Rebellion. These are a little different.
Yeah.
So we're going to be covering these a little more linearly. Instead, episode by episode, because the story kind of just progresses that way.
Yeah.
Instead of the way they've done them in the last, 6 episodes.
I mean, I was just gonna say the more I watch this season of Andor and stuff, the more I'm like, no, I totally agree with the way they're doing this. Like, before it came out, I was like, what the hell are they doing? 3 episodes at a time. The more I watch, like, no, this is, and it's the way they're like, I love the time jump. Honestly, like, is even that is a part because I'm just like, yeah, it's just we are just getting a glimpse into the events of Andor's life or just the rebellion as it goes forward, and it's just like, I don't know. I'm sure other things have done it, but like this is for me, it's like a unique way to tell the story and be engaged with it because it's just like, it just feels like
interesting because this is the last season.
Yep.
And this is one of the most well received properties in the Star Wars universe. I'm surprised they didn't milk it.
Yeah,
because they could have easily gotten like 5 or 6 seasons in here. I'm just from the stuff they've alluded to happening.
Yeah,
between
each
sets of episodes.
Yeah. They could have definitely.
Yeah. And who knows what happened between the end of last season and the start of this season, because there's a time jump there. It was like 2 years or something like that. Like they could have really gotten like 4, 5, 6 seasons out of this easy. And I think it would have been better for it. I could have used a whole season of nothing but Gorman. That would have been really good. Like really just get deep into the politics of it and everything. But they're doing a fine job. This is a great season, but I'm just surprised that they didn't go that direction.
Yeah, it's interesting. The other thing is, before watching this episode, I didn't like spoil it for myself or anything, but I just saw like different articles, and they were like the 2 points that came up was either articles where they seem to not realize that we get 3 more episodes because they're talking about these 3 episodes as if it's the end of Andor season 2, and then there's also sites where they're just really talking about like how impactful and stuff, and kind of like where I'm at, because I'm just like, after these, like, if Andor ended after these 3 episodes and we went right into Rogue One, it would, for me, be like perfect. Like, I'm not saying that there's not another something that could happen in these next 3 episodes, but I'm like, this, for me so far, these 3 episodes were the best that they've put out from
every set has been better than the last.
Yeah, exactly. So that who knows what the next 3 are going to be. But yeah, there's also this like,
what if it flops? What if it flops?
Don't say it. Don't say it. No. Even if it flops, I will still give this season a success rate in my mind. Just be like, you couldn't stick the landing, but that was 9 episodes of just so I'll give you a pass.
Well, it's an interesting scenario because they don't have to stick the landing.
Yeah.
Because this is not, the next 3 episodes are not the landing.
No.
Rogue One is.
Yeah.
And they already know Rogue One is a banger with a banger period end.
Yep.
That goes right into episode 4.
4. Yeah.
4. So it's like, well, they don't have to land it.
No.
Because there's nowhere, they don't need to. There's no runway. The runway's all way off in the distance, and we already know how that it lands.
Yep.
So super, super awesome. All right, well, let's jump into this. So see you episode 7, 1 year later, BBY2.
Yep.
So I guess next one will be 1 year before BBY.
Yeah.
Which seems odd. But because I kind of wanted to just run right into the beginning of Rogue One.
Yeah.
Which is really, no, because Battle of Yavin is the first is episode 4.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so this can run right into Rogue One.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Because the episode 1 starts with them fleeing with the plans, and then there's still some time before the Battle of Yavin. So it could just no, it works.
It's like
they planned this.
We start with Cass. He's on Yavin.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cassie, and I don't know. I started calling him Cass in my notes, like as an angel. I tell you what, they got a pretty rad.
I know.
House.
I'm like,
don't leave.
Most of the time when it's like, oh man, you're in the rebellion, let's go and get you're living scrappy quarters and everybody's just fine where they can bug down. I'm like, you guys got like yourself a nice little jungle bungalow.
They've done pretty well with the living situations we've seen, because it started out on the farm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was a pretty pimp,
nice farm.
like like mobile unit that they
Mhm,
had on the
mhm.
farm. I liked it. I would live there. That would
Yep.
seem super cool.
Then they got their Coruscant apartment, which,
Yeah, it
I
was
mean, they didn't
awesome.
decorate it, but it was
I mean,
it was a
obviously, it
nice
was a
size.
depressing time, but it
Yeah,
had a
a
nice
nice
view.
si I mean, I view Coruscant as like the New York of Star Wars. If to have that size apartment in
On
Coruscant,
the
yeah,
surface?
on the like, come on, who's footing this? But Luther got some money.
Luthen is he does have money. He's
True,
rich. He's
true.
very
Yeah,
rich. Yeah.
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 Plus, they also did in season one still like half of the Empire's payroll, so that's probably going
Yeah.
somewhere.
Some interesting discussions. Wilmon
Yeah,
shows
Wilmon
up,
shows up.
and it's
I
just
I
like,
like I said, with the whole time skip at the end of last 3 episodes, Wilmon was, like, just getting inducted into the rebellion,
mhm,
and now this episode is like, oh, he's a full-fledged rebel. He's like,
yeah,
he's in it. He's more in it a little bit than Andor right now. Like,
yeah,
he's been
absolutely.
out here running missions. He's, you know,
Well, I mean, it's all about, okay, we're transitioning from kind of like a French underground cell
yeah.
rebellion, to a full-on army.
Mhm.
And
Getting all
Cassian's
the
just like, I don't want to be like, I already kind of didn't like being in a
yeah.
rebel because, doing the spycraft because people told me what to do, and now you
Yeah.
want to put me in a regimented army?
Mhm.
Like, I don't think so.
He
That's
he
not me.
he's not feeling it.
Yeah, he's a freedom
Yep.
guy. Yeah,
Freedom fighter out here doing it his way.
yeah. Send me on
Um,
missions, and I think there's still a place for that.
oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously there is because he's doing
100%.
it, but yeah,
100% there's still a place. There's always I think there's always gonna be a place. I think I mean, not that, we know he does not live past Rogue One because a lot of people don't live past Rogue One. But anyways, Saul Guerrero, like, I think, yes, maybe stop working with Luthen and them and maybe go hook up with Saul. They're a little
yeah.
bit more out there free thinking, doing stuff.
On Gorman, there's been some continued
Yeah,
rebellion activity there.
definitely,
Like
yeah.
they've blown some stuff up.
Mhm.
They've caused some major ruckus more than just stealing some weapons.
Yep, to the point where the
Um,
Empire is just, like, implemented,
yeah,
like, strict martial law. There's a curfew. They got, like, lockdown streets and all
yeah,
this stuff. Guards stationed everywhere.
yeah.
So yeah,
I,
Gorman.
I I think it's interesting that they have like the news media that's
Mhm.
very kind of like conservative spin,
Yeah.
kind of stuff. I mean, we didn't talk about that in the previous set where they had like not Cardassian, uh, the name of the planet. Come on.
Um,
We just said it.
Garmin?
No, no, no,
Oh,
the
oh,
what they're
oh,
called.
oh, yeah, crap. Oh my
I know
goodness.
I've said Cardassian, it's in your head
It's
now.
stuck it Coruscant,
Coruscant.
Coruscant.
Yeah, they had like Coruscant Today
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
whatever, which was I
exactly.
mean, it's interesting to see TV in this
I
universe because you
I
don't think of Star Trek as
well,
having television.
that's what I really love with Andor, and this episode showed it so much, is just watching the like I said, it's like seeing the rebellion from just the everyman's viewpoint, and so you got the news media out here spinning, you got people, the protests in the streets going on and that sort of stuff. Like, yeah, the rebellion, didn't start with everybody being a rebel and stuff. Like, there's protests and that sort of stuff, and it's like
Yep.
just seeing all this play out. It's just like, yeah, whoever, like, I don't know who is the mastermind behind Rogue One and Andor, but whoever, like, thought, like, hey, what if we just did some Star Wars Everyman
Yeah.
stuff? Just, just,
Just get in the streets. Get in the
just
streets. Yeah.
that just perfect.
Yeah.
It's insane how good
Uh,
this is.
so Cassian, he gets a mission to take out Deidre.
Well, he doesn't get a mission because it's not a mission. Wilmon wants him to, but they make it very clear because first one is Cassian at first is up. Well, okay, I guess it is kind of missing from Luthen, but not from the overall rebellion.
Yeah, correct.
Because
Yeah.
yeah. So Luthen does, but yeah, because Cassian doesn't want to at first. He's still mad at Luthen for talking to Bix. I don't know what. I still couldn't. That's one thing I couldn't be like. Why are you? Why are you so mad at Luthen? I can't. I remember. I mean, I remember the course last episode. They got in a fight about him approaching Bix without him. But I'm like, dude, like that. So it's been a year and you're still like, don't trust that man. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, he's still mad at Luthen. Doesn't want to do it. But with Bix actually is the one kind of convincing him like, hey, there's more to this. And Wilmon, we know why he wants to is he blames Deidre
Yeah.
for everything that's happened to him, including losing his father. So they decide to do it. And I just do like the part where, like, as we were just talking about, how Cassian doesn't seem like he's the rules and regiment guy and fall in line, and so they're taking the ship, and the guy like, this isn't sanctioned, you can't do this, and he's like, I can do what I want.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just like,
Well,
yeah,
he's also kind of like, this is the last mission, and
yeah,
then I'm out,
yeah.
kind of thing. Um, Cut to Deidre.
Mhm.
She's talking with her boss.
Yep.
It turns out that they're gonna have to take Gorman. He's like, "Oh, we tried really hard in the lab to try and figure it out." I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, you
No,
didn't.
no, yeah, I'm
No, you
just like,
didn't."
"This is some BS."
Yeah,
Everyone here
yeah,
knows.
yeah. Everybody getting lied to.
Mhm.
So there's a fleet that's gonna arrive in 48 hours. So the
Yep.
clock is ticking. We see a little bit of Deidre and Cyril, which their relationship has also
Has
progressed. Maybe
progressed.
not in a healthy way, which we'll talk about later,
Yep,
but
yep.
but it
I
has
mean,
progressed.
it's and, spoilers for the next episode that we're gonna get to, but, we lose him next episode, but I will say that the growth of Zero throughout this series
Yeah.
has been quite interesting because, like, especially, like, I even thought at one point, uh, I was like, Zero just traded in one woman telling him what to do for another. But then a little bit later, like, never mind. I think Cyril has
Yeah.
finally gotten that backbone and stuff. Maybe a little too far in the other direction,
Yeah,
but
yeah, 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 for
still,
sure.
I was just like, yeah,
Maybe not far enough.
Cyril has been an interesting character, honestly. Like how much I've actually grown to. I'm not going to say like favor him or enjoy him, but just like be invested in him. I guess is interesting to me because I in the
Yeah,
first season, if you would be like, yeah, you're going to be the Cyril guy, is going to stick out to you. I'm like, hey, he's just your you know, basic brown noser, but he's not. He's a lot more. Yeah, so we get to see them. Cyril's starting to have doubts
yep,
about what's going on, and it does play into the difference between Cyril and Deidre because like they have so much similarity about like how they're all about you know how things should be and following orders and that sort of stuff. But Cyril still is someone, even though he's not a good guy in he still lives in the moral
yeah.
black and white sort of world where Deidre is definitely able to, even if she doesn't like it, deal with grays
Oh, she got
more.
the dark side in her.
Yeah, yeah.
She got the dark side in her.
Mhm.
Cyril's got the light side in him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but he follows orders.
Yes.
Yeah. We get some the Gorman rebels having a
Mhm.
meeting. Lots of infighting there.
Yeah.
I like that the guy that like interrupted
The heist.
the heist was
Yeah.
there now, that he was
Yeah.
also the guy from the town hall meeting and stuff like that. He's
Mhm.
he's up in there now. I like it.
Yep, yep.
Super
He's
awesome.
now involved. I mean, like, how could you not be? You rode off with him at the end
Yeah.
of that mission, so uh
We get a brief scene that I didn't really care for, but it was necessary at the end where he Cassian's got he between episode sets,
yeah.
he got some sort of shoulder injury
Mhm.
and it's really causing a problem, and they go to see a force healer
Yeah.
who like may or may not really be I mean, we know
Yeah,
that
yeah.
she's a force healer. This was like, okay, can we not bring the Jedi and the force
Exactly.
into
I
this
I was
situation?
just
Okay,
like
this is if she has a lightsaber, I
when
will quit.
when Bix was like, "Yeah, the force healer," I was like, "Whoa, what are we doing?" I was like, "Come on, we almost done with this series." Like I said, I mean, like I said, I got nothing against Jedi as a whole. I like Jedi still, I like lightsabers, but like they don't belong in Andor.
Yeah.
Like you stay over there, you do all the lightsaber stuff over there, and that's great. I'll come join you over there when I want to. But while I'm here in Andor town, don't need to see any of you Jedi around here. So yeah, I was definitely a little hesitant, but I also kind of
I like how Cassian's just like, "That's not a thing.
yeah,
That's not real."
yeah,
Like, it really, like, goes to show, like I mean, in, like, the prime,
yeah.
at most, there were 10,000 Jedi
Hmm.
in a galaxy of trillions.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
well,
they're
I think
yeah.
also the other thing that plays into it is it shows what is the like the media campaign or like when you're basically like retelling history because like basically like that's the whole thing is the empire has made Jedi's out to be I mean now that they're gone like they want them to be jokes they want them to be the failures who didn't didn't stop the wars that happened they so that, I think that's what plays because everyone always talks about Han Solo and his disbelief of Jedi's and when he first shows up and now we see Cassian kind of the same way but I think it's kind of like well these are people who even if they were alive when I mean, because I think Han Solo is older than Luke, so he might have been like a
Oh, yeah, it
teenager
definitely is, yeah.
when Jedi's are running around. Still, like with enough media blast and just enough spin on the story of Jedi, if people, I mean, Cassian, Han Solo, other people like, yeah, they were young
Well,
when Jedi's
so
were a thing. So I think it's like kind of also like, yeah, like I said, they always say, what is it? History is told by the victors. And so I just feel like, yeah, the Empire has gone out of their way to
Yeah.
make Jedis
Well, you
into
also have to think,
jokes,
like, so
into
so obviously Han, he's traveled.
yeah,
He traveled a lot.
he traveled a
So
whole
he's
lot.
probably run into the Jedi before
Yeah.
and knows what's going on. He's been around the galaxy a couple of
I
times.
mean, yes and
You know,
no.
Luke, he's got starry-eyed dreams. He likes to read the stories,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Whereas like Cassian, he's a tribal person.
Mhm.
He was born on a planet
Yeah.
where they
They
hunted
don't
with
even
bows and
they don't even
arrows.
have
They didn't
space
have
flight, none of
technology.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, when he finally gets off and grows up, like the chances that he's been exposed to the Jedi or
Yeah.
only heard about them in myth and
Mhm.
legend is different, even though they haven't been dead that long.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. He goes
Uh,
to
I was just gonna, yeah, just because it does the point that matters that will come up in the last episode is that the Force healer does tell Bix like Cassian
yes,
has
yeah,
a large part in this rebellion,
yep.
which
She's seen a future to him,
yeah,
and that he's a messenger, and that really strikes a chord with Bix, which comes
yes,
up at the end of the final episode of this set.
yep,
So we get back to Gorman, where Cassian and Wilmon are there.
mhm,
He goes and checks out the hotel. I love that it's the same clerk that
yeah,
the guy that helped the bus boy that helped not bus
uh, uh,
I can't
bellhop,
clerk.
clerk,
I'll just say
yeah,
clerk. Yeah, bellhop. Yeah,
yeah,
that knew him before, gives him the same room.
mhm.
Yeah,
Uh,
Wilmon goes to see the rebels.
yeah, we find out that part of why Wilman is so amped up to with the rebellion is he has found himself a lady friend.
Yep, he's always finding
I
lady
know,
friends.
I know.
Always,
I was sitting here
he's
like,
a
man.
player.
Well, I was sitting there like, Wilman, if you get another
Yeah,
good character
yeah,
killed because you got to
yeah,
see your woman lady
yeah.
friend.
Literally, and it's always the daughter of a farmer.
Mm, yeah.
'Cause it's the daughter of
Mm-hmm.
a web farmer. By the
Yep.
way, we did not get our spider farm.
We did not. We never did. I'm sorry,
Mm,
Robert.
mm,
I'm
mm,
sorry.
mhm.
I know.
Yeah, we also see Cassian, he's got a sniper rifle
Yep.
he's putting
I
together.
gotta say, and I know, like, you always see this in the movies where the assassin pulls out the case and they assemble the rifle,
Yeah.
but I still felt like this was a little much. Like, there was too many parts of this rifle. Like, come on, man. Like, he's like had like 9 or 10 parts. He's like putting them
Yep,
all
yep.
together. I'm just like, okay.
I'm also upset that, like, when he puts it together in the room,
Mhm.
it's got a barrel on it,
Yeah.
and then later on when he puts it back together, we never see that
Yeah,
barrel
that barrel.
again. I
And
feel like that's an important part
it
of the
was in its
weapon.
short form.
It was either
It's
necessary or
well,
unnecessary.
it's necessary for the long shot, but once he knew he wasn't gonna be sitting in his room taking a shot at,
Oh,
Deidre
no,
from
he was gonna be
across the
sitting
thing.
under his room.
Yeah, well, he knew he was gonna
Yeah,
be, like, more is it possible of more close combat, right? He didn't bring the
yeah,
barrel because a
yeah.
barrel gets in the way when you're trying to fight in tighter
Yeah,
quarters.
and I don't know how he thinks he's gonna get away with this. He's, like,
Yeah, the
on
whole
the 2nd
time!
floor. He's on the 2nd floor, exposed to the pavilion area,
Mhm.
right?
Big ol'
Where
windows.
just
Big ol'
just
windows.
filled with troops.
Yes.
The whole plaza is filled with troops. Troops above him, troops to the side,
Yep.
troops below.
Yep. So
He's, like, maybe a football field's length away
mhm.
from the target,
Yeah.
like, on the same level. Like,
Yeah.
you getting caught. This is a
Yeah.
suicide
I was
shot.
like, going back where we were how and I knew it wasn't, but still, there was a part of me was like, was when Cassian said this was his last mission, was he like, "Because I'm gonna die
That's what I'm
afterwards?"
saying, yeah.
I do think, yeah, that's the thing that's also interesting or not, and kind of funny is just like so like I said, Wilman, like I said, he's been doing this rebel thing for a year,
Yep.
probably been on Gorman a bunch. I mean, he implies he has, and he shows up and be like, let's go kill Deidre. He's right there. And literally, when they finally decide to go kill Deidre, is right when they're like, let's add a whole bunch more security and lock
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like, I was like, you guys could not have picked a
By the way,
worse time to try to assassinate. Any time in all the months before, any time would have been a breeze. But you literally pick right when the Emperor's like, let's ramp up security.
yeah.
Let's get everybody
Yeah,
there.
you're telling me that they can get ships, they can get this fancy sniper rifle,
Hmm.
and Luthen can't put out for a remote-controlled hunter-seeker droid
Yeah.
bomb?
Come on.
They got droids that can
Oh
fly.
yeah, no, they got plenty of those. It is- it
They could
easy.
get a better weapon for this
Yeah,
job. Yeah.
there's gotta be. There's gotta even if you wanna, like, say, like, "Oh, the droid's not 100% reliable," so you have someone there
No,
as
you
a
remote
backup.
control it, yeah.
Yeah, and, as a backup, but I'm just saying, you start with the droid, you don't go straight to, old school sniper
Yeah.
assassinations across the pavilion where everyone could see you.
Yeah. You're
Um,
telling me the Gorman don't have spider bomb droids? Like
so we see, like I said, we see a whole bunch of new troops showing up. There's what are they called? Barriers, but I know there's like an actual rule thing they call them, not just but
Yeah, barriers
barriers.
is
We'll just
fine, yeah.
call them barriers. Being put in, and we see this interesting, which it does eventually come to make sense. And because I did have this thought, is we see this interesting scene where we have a bunch of really green Imperial soldiers and a
Mhm.
really like slobbish, I'll say, kind of commander who's put
Yeah.
in charge of them, and like he even makes some like dumb comments that gets him in trouble. And I'm like, why are these guys here? And we find out why these
Yeah,
guys are
yeah,
here. But
yeah.
still, I'm like, you got this whole major military operation going on, and you bring in the Z Squad with their dumb commander.
No, as soon as I saw them, I'm like, "These boys are grist for the mill."
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. You're
they
just
are
like,
meant to run into machine
oh,
guns.
you guys
Like,
are here to die.
yeah,
These are the guys.
yep,
These are the guys to
yep.
die.
Alright, so let's go to episode 8.
Yep.
Who are you? They start out with a panning scene of the building. They
Mm-hmm.
kinda started the whole Gorman thing. I'm like, "This do be a big building."
Yeah.
It just stands out. It is out of place. I don't know how they got the permits for this. Like, this is
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is like Old Town,
Mm-hmm.
Gorman too. Like, they had to tear down, like, a significant neighborhood
Yeah.
just to build this thing,
Just to build this
and it's a prime target.
elaborate. Yeah.
This is the World Trade Centers.
But I mean,
Just fly a ship into it.
intentional. I feel like I said,
Oh,
like
no, it's supposed to be imposing and
yeah.
scary,
Well, and
and
also easy, not easy target, but like this is where, like I said, well, they want, and they also imply that Luthen wants, which to this degree I don't think so, but still they want trouble to happen on Gorman.
yeah,
So like a part of me felt like yeah they knocked down Old Town Gorman
yeah.
to aggravate people. They
Oh,
built a
no, no, this building
very
in itself is
dominant.
all part of the plan
Yeah, very
of
dominant in
cause
your
yeah.
face where every day you're gonna see it because it's big and it's right in the middle of town, like,
Yeah. No, it is meant to
Empire's
incite a
here.
Gorman rebellion. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's doing its job.
So, yeah, so we pick up right back on Gore,
Yep.
and, Cassian is still prepping his gun because it's such a
Mhm.
complicated and big gun, and the troops start to remove the barricades. They don't
Yeah.
remove them though.
They just kinda
They m
bring them in.
they move them.
Barricades, that was the word I was
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
for,
They
barricades.
move them so that way it opens up the plaza,
Yep.
but blocks off the front of the building of
Yes.
the I IPO? No.
I
Imperial Security.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Bureau.
ISL?
ISB,
ISB building. Yeah, there we go. There
Imperial
we go.
Security
There we go.
Bureau.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. We find out that the mining ships have already landed,
Mhm.
and I'm like, again, that's just more to like
Yep.
light the wick. It's
Get
like let's
things
land them
going.
and start some rumors and stuff like that, and yeah.
Yeah. Um,
And the rebels, they're equipping. They
mhm.
got all the
I
guns.
mean, so yeah, so Andor is, getting ready, but then he looks out his window and sees, things are weird. Him and Wilmon get on the phone and he's like, things are happening here. And I just love like as he's talking to Wilmon, guy literally comes in, he's like, they're moving the barricades and like telling everybody,
Yeah,
like, yeah, it's like, yeah, something's up. Once again, I'm like, you guys could have picked any other time to try to kill this woman. Just like you literally
yeah.
picked the worst time to try to kill this woman.
So a march protest starts.
Mm-hmm.
You got the main guy. I can't remember his name. The like
Yeah.
the father figure
Yeah.
of the Gorman resistance.
Mm-hmm.
He's marching, and he quickly realizes this is a trap.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
starts to try to tell everybody to go away. He
Yeah.
runs into Cyril.
Cyril, who, like I said, Cyril is definitely like Cyril is like, I want to get the bad guys, but the Gormans are innocent, and so he doesn't want this. Like
So
he
okay, can we talk about this?
okay.
Okay, so what does Cyril think is happening? What does he think his job is?
Well, so yeah, he thinks
Because
he's
his real job that
yeah,
he doesn't know
yeah,
is to incite violence
yes,
so that way it will turn the galaxy against Gorman.
yep.
So that way the
Give the
Imperials have a
Empire
reason
to
to take over and
yep,
declare martial law
yep,
and silence everything,
mm-hmm,
and then they can start mining the planet.
yeah. And Cyril believes that he's just there to find the small rebel faction. He doesn't think it's
But
all of
he's
Gorman.
inciting it. He's helping incite it. He's helping it grow and
Yeah. I mean,
okay, no, I get you. I
yeah.
get you. He thinks but
he
I mean,
thinks they're
look,
gonna
after a
get there.
while,
Yeah, I know it is a little flimsy because you're like, come on, man. Like as the imperial presence grows, and that's the other thing is he also is no longer like he's been outed to the rebellion where like they don't trust him anymore either.
yeah,
Like they know he's working for the empire and stuff. So it's like, but yeah, I think he views it as like, yeah, we're just here to find like the insiders, the heads of the rebellion. We'll take them out, and then once they're done, we can let Gorman go back to being Gorman because they'll be all good now. That's Cyril's kind of painted world he believes they live in.
yeah,
Not seeing the degree that Gorman has already turned to revolt, and then also B, how far the Empire is willing to go to get, even though they don't know there's a resource there, just to get what they
yeah,
want.
yeah.
And like he's still living in a world like the
Well,
Empire is
I
just
like the leader of the rebellion of the rebels
yeah.
or the resistance is like, "What is in our ground? What do you
Yeah.
want?" I'm like, "How do they not
That's what I
know?"
was like too. I'm like, what do you mean what's in
The
it?
Empire
You
knows that
live
they've got
here.
the special
You
material,
guys
but
never been poking around with a shovel? No, I know it takes more, but
yeah, I
still.
mean, it would be an export.
Yeah.
So there was gotta be some scientist on Gorman that discovers this important resource, and it was
Mm-hmm.
like, "We got money to make.
Yeah, yeah.
Screw the spiders."
Unless it's like, it's like literally like the core of the
It is the
planet.
core of the
So
planet. That's the whole
that's
thing,
what I'm saying. That's
is
why
like,
I
to
might be
get
like,
at it, you're gonna
we
have to
might not
destabilize
sell
the
it,
planet, yeah.
but they should still know about it, is my thing. It's like, yeah, they might not be out. Gorman themselves might not be selling if they found it because they're like, yeah, we don't want to destroy our planet. But you would know. You would know.
Yeah,
You would know that the core of our planet is valuable,
yeah.
in it sort of thing. Um,
So, Cassian realizes that he can't make the shot from the room,
yep,
and he decides to go out into the protest fray.
yep,
I like he goes and talks to the bellboy, drops off his key, is like, "I won't be back," and I
yeah.
love the bellboy's
Boy,
just
was
like,
like,
"I didn't
you were
love your
never here.
room."
He's like,
He's
you were
like
never here.
he's like, "Hell Hydra," or whatever, whatever the good version of it
I
is.
want to know what happened because in the previous night he's like, "Hey, C's going to like C it like he lets Cassian know like you need to do something about your official being here because C is going to report you here,"
Yeah.
is what he says. But then the next day when he's like, "You were never here," I was like, "Did you kill your coworker?" I'm like, "Did this man get off work, take his
Yeah,
coworker out for drinks, and then kill her or something?" Because I'm just like,
yeah.
"Well, you changed your tune from last like, hey, we're going to need to do something to her, to the next day like, nah, it's all good, bro. Don't worry about it." Like, what happened to your coworker? And she wasn't at the front desk with him this morning. Where's she at now?
I love that Cyril and Cassian, like, nearly
Nearly,
brush
yeah.
shoulders, like, just walking,
They
opposite directions,
Yeah,
like
yeah, like, Cassian's, like, on the steps, and then he turns, like, left to walk down just as Cyril walks through by, and I was just like,
yeah.
yeah, like I said, we all knew, like, this meeting's gonna happen. They're gonna
Yeah,
meet up
yeah.
eventually. But anyway, Cyril heads over to the main building, because he wants to speak to Deidre. Instead of being sent in, though, he's first put in a room with like a bunch of other like low level Imperial workers, and then for whatever reason, there's a bunch of other low level Imperial workers, and then the killer battle droids. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, this is a weird pairing. But this episode here, and like what happens after this scene, does make me that one of the issues with the prequel trilogy that that carries into the sequel trilogies also is and this show is like it just makes you ask questions about why the empire would stop. Like the clone troopers, as
Yeah.
seen in the prequel trilogy, were like the end all be all. They were better than battle droids, end all be all soldiers. So why did the empire stop using clone troopers and start? Because we see by the time, like I said, the sequel trilogy, there Finn was a stormtrooper. Other stormtroopers were just normal people who were joined the empire. So I'm like, that why did you had the best soldiers in the universe,
Yeah.
and now stuff, and then also like we see these battle droids. And I'm like, these battle droids are walking tanks,
Yeah.
just taking
Oh,
out people left and right.
I
And
love when the
I'm just like,
droids enter the fray. They do such an amazing job of showing how
yeah,
terrifying and powerful they
mm-hmm.
are, and I love, like, when the protest is really going, and then all of a sudden you see,
I just love the
like
barricade kick.
oh, yeah, yeah. But no, I love later on when, like, Cassian and Wilmon are talking in the street,
Yeah, oh
and then
yeah,
all of a sudden a flood of people come running,
mm-hmm.
like, scared, like Godzilla's after them,
Yeah,
and it's just one of those droids
yeah.
chasing 1,000
Flinging
people.
people around.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah. And so that's my thing is I'm just like, why did they stop using these all powerful droids that
yeah.
they had? Like that's the problem with I mean with prequels in general all the time is if you're not careful, it
Money.
just makes you ask questions of like what happened? Like, why are you using these stormtroopers who can't hit
Yeah.
a blank wall? What happened to the clone troopers? What
There
happened to
I'm
the
sure there's some
droids?
legends explanation of why they got rid of the
Yeah.
clone troopers and
And
stuff
and
like
they're
that.
yeah, really good droids and all that stuff, probably. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
But anyways, so yeah, he gets put in a room. And then we see once again we get brought back to our Z squad of Imperial soldiers and their bummy captain, and they're like, "Hey, go out there and clear us a path." And I was like, "Ah, I see now."
Yeah.
Like I said, I kind of had an idea, but when I started sending these guys out to clear a path, I was like,
Yeah.
"Uh-huh, I see what's
Yep.
happening
Yep.
here. These guys
No,
are
yeah,
this."
so they created a barricade.
Mm-hmm.
The whole protest is in front of the building,
Yep.
and then, because it's a plaza, it's a big circular plaza.
Yep.
That's all, like, it's basically a bowl,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden, all the entrances are starting to be blocked off by stormtroopers,
Yep.
so that way no one can get out,
Yep.
and that so, trapping them all in.
Trapping everybody in, and then they send out this squad of newbies
Yep.
out to clear a path through. For what reason? I don't know why, because they never said like, "What, you gonna walk out?" Like, no one's walking out there
Well,
anyways.
no, no, he said because he needed to clear a path. They needed to clear a path
Yeah, I know,
to
but I'm
something. Yeah,
but to yeah. Anyways,
yeah.
uh,
But before that happens,
yeah, I was about to say that
we
they
get
get
we get
sent out, but Cyril does
meet with Deidre,
Deidre, and like I
and
said,
Cyril is big mad.
yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a pretty. I mean, I point this stuff out all the time, but just because it's just the Disney of old, the Disney I grew up with would never have this. But to have a man full on choking a
Oh
woman to
yeah,
death on a Disney show, I was like, woo,
yeah, yeah,
woo.
yeah. This was rough.
But I loved my thing is I just love the reaction because while I do think at first I had thought like maybe it's all just about having someone to manipulate. I do think Deidre did, especially as we see a little bit later.
Oh yeah,
She truly loved Cyril.
oh
Cyril
yeah.
truly loved her. The relationship was unbalanced
It's an unhealthy
and
relationship, a
unhealthy.
codependent
Yeah,
relationship. Yeah,
but still, I think even with her loving of Cyril, she still did see Cyril as like the perfect lapdog for her. Like, yeah, he'll follow my orders. He wants all this stuff and this thing. So like when he suddenly is like demanding stuff from her. Like you could see that more than just like, oh, he's choking me. There was also just shock in her eyes of like, this is Cyril. I've groomed him to be
yeah.
my subservient lover. And suddenly now he's angry and he's dominant and just like, where did this come from? Sort of thing. But yeah, Cyril, I just love when Cyril even tells us like, if you tell me this is about outside agitators, I will throw you out that window. I was like, he ain't messing around, Deidre. You gonna want to
I
tell
love
him
how
what's
like
going on.
when he stopped, she like composes herself and is like, everything's normal. It's
Mm-hmm.
all fine. It's
Yep.
all good.
And as he points out the little bit of hypocriticalness, because I mean, even Cheryl has to admit, like, you getting some nice promotions,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like you weren't complaining me getting the promotions, and I'm like, yeah, Cheryl, you can't be like, oh, I'm high and mighty up here. You were getting some cut back too, my friend.
yeah, yeah. So as you said, the green troops
Yep.
go out into the fray,
Yep.
and then they call in Channel 5,
Yep.
which they've been talking about earlier, like it's
Mhm.
Channel 5 available and ready,
Yep.
and that's a sniper guy.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, he's gonna, fire into the crowd or something. It's like, nope, he
No,
shoots one of the
I
troopers.
knew he was going to shoot one of the troopers, but yeah, because basically they wanted to seem like the Gormans started things. The
Yeah,
Gormans attacked these loyal soldiers who are out, these loyal great soldiers who are out there, who weren't just sent out there to be murdered. But yeah, that incites, because I think is even the news broadcasters beforehand were saying like overall it was. They were just chanting and then eventually singing. Uh they're like they're calling this a peaceful protest to some extent,
yeah.
just people
By the way,
chanting
the
and
guy who
singing.
started the singing,
Yeah.
when he took off his hat, I'm like,
Hmm.
he's about to bomb.
Mm.
He's about to like
Yeah.
he's gonna have bombs on under his clothes, and he's
Yeah.
about to charge and just blow up.
So
Like,
one thing actually I want to talk about this whole Gorman planet thing that I just think is interesting because I still remember back when Lord of the Rings came out and everybody just raved about how the all the people who played elves had to learn Elfish and like it's a full
oh
language.
yeah,
And I'm just like, that was for a huge blockbuster. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not putting that in. The fact like the Gormans have a whole I just wanted like a whole language. They're singing a
no,
song.
it's really just an odd pronunciation of French
That's what I did. I was gonna say it does sound
because
like
this is a very
French.
French resistance.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very
I
much
mean, they've
so.
got berets,
Exactly. I was like, I was like, it sounds very much like French, but it's still like, yeah, it's like a slight varied pronunciation
Yeah,
of it. But still, like just the amount of work still put in with all the actors and stuff, and like they got a whole song that they sing, and there's so many like it's one of those things like the fact that I'm not. I mean, they all obviously have the subtitles automatically, but still, it's like, yeah, you can't watch Andor without subtitles because, like, yeah, I think it's often whenever they're on Gorman, like, you never know if they're going to be speaking. But also, the thing I was thinking is like, why are they chanting in English? But then they're like, oh, this is because they also know like they hope they're on the news and
Yeah,
they want English is in the Star Wars universe seems to be the universal language, that everybody can
yeah,
speak or most people can speak. So I'm like, yeah, but they like so that
standard.
yeah. So I thought it was just like yeah, it's like of course they're singing or they're chanting in English because like yeah, they were trying to get their message out. If they're chanting in Gorman, people are like I don't know what they're saying. But yeah, just I like I said, so this scene, like I said, I these 3 episodes for me have been the best so far, and I mean that's kind of this the thing. But I will admit, like I got a little emotional doing this, like during this riot scene, just seeing the tragedy as it
Yeah.
unfolds, and just
I mean,
like
it was crazy. Most of this episode was taken up by the firefight that
yes,
ensues from all this chaos
mm-hmm,
I mean, we're only gonna put a few minutes into it talking about it,
yeah, because you
but
got to see it, you got to
it's like
see it,
2/3 of the
yeah,
episode of, like, just a firefight
just
and chaos,
insane
yeah,
chaos
and
that breaks
everybody's
out.
got a gun, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's got a bomb. The bellboy's got a bomb, the random pregnant lady's got a
Yeah,
bomb,
yeah.
everybody's got a
Everybody
bomb.
got bombs. Hey, when you're in the rebellion, you gotta be ready to throw down whenever, man. You're working your bellboy job, and
Yeah.
the riot breaks out. It's time to
Yeah.
go. You ain't got time to run home and get your bomb. You bring that with you to work.
Yeah, while all this is happening, Cyril has made his way
Yeah,
out into the streets
yeah.
and just standing there in a haze, realizing that, like, what's going on is his
hmm
doing.
I also do love though the scene after with Deidre where she's like, because it still shows that she views Cyril, like I said, it's an unhealthy relationship, even if she does love him, as like hers and her thing, like, and that she cat should be able to control him because he's literally like, don't let him leave this building, bring him back to me, and
Yeah.
don't let him leave. Like she still's like, no, that's
Well,
my
I
person,
I
that's
I
my
also think she
Cyril.
wants to protect him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that
I think
too.
there's 2 sides to the coin for sure, but
Yeah, no, I think yeah, it's definitely about because we also see a little later when she's told they can't find him, how like
yeah,
distraught she is. Because yeah, she definitely wants to protect him from what's going on.
because he goes out before stuff hits the fan,
Yeah,
and she knows that.
it's about to kick off.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so Cyril's out, lost, doesn't know what he's done as he sees the chaos unfold,
Yep.
and then he sees the man that he holds as the reason for any of this,
Yeah, the
like
catalyst
the
for everything,
catalyst.
yeah.
If he had never run across Andor, he'd be working his security job. None of this would have happened.
I
But
mean, he'd be
Andor
still stuck
has,
in a cubicle. I mean, yeah, no, he would not
yeah,
have moved up,
yeah, he
like
would not have moved up, but he
yeah,
also was happy at his, thing as a lieutenant commander or whatever,
yeah.
and stuff like he would still have everything. He'd be exactly where he wanted to be. And then Andor has been the catalyst for everything that's gone wrong in his life. And like I said, if you would have told me at the beginning of this season or last season, oh, Andor versus Cyril fight's going to be lit, I'm like, I don't know, I don't really see it. Like, not that Andor's like the strongest dude, but he's like scrappy fighter, rebel dude. He's been living a hard life, and Cyril's just like prim and proper dude. Like this fight's gonna be kind of lame. But oh, Cyril's apparently been hitting the gym
Hey, look, Cyril
and is just full of
is
rage.
a trim dude,
Yep.
and he is a soldier at heart,
Yeah.
and he is a very well
But
regimented soldier.
remember in the first season when goes out with his squad, you could tell very much he is like how you sometimes hear about guys who go through military academy and then get an officer
Mhm.
position and like they really haven't worked their way through.
Mm.
Like that's what I kind of see Cyril is at the beginning. Is he's someone who he's gotten it to his position because I mean even with his mom pulling the strings and stuff.
Well, mom's brother or
Yeah,
some
mom's
uncle,
brother.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, uncle pulling the string. So part of me feels like because in the first season when he goes out with the military squad to get Andor, you could tell like he's very green in the whole like combat. When the fighting starts in the first season, like when it pops off, he's very much like I don't know what I'm doing and kind of like nervous and timid. But
Yeah,
like I said, it's been years, and this is also a Shiro who is he's on his he's just lost everything and he's pissed off, and he literally sees the man he blames
yeah,
for all this. So yeah, he has some rage in him, and like I said, this was a kick-ass fight. Like they're brutal, just slamming each other around, throwing each other and stuff, and just punching. But then it gets really brutal and emotional scenes when Shiro prevails and gets Andor down with a gun pointed at him, and Andor does. Which like I said, what I was thinking is like, yeah, I was like, yeah. To Shiro, Andor is everything. To
yeah,
Andor, Shiro's just another guy. And Andor's literally like, who are you?
yeah.
And it's
It was a
just like,
devastating line.
yeah. I'm
One of
just
the
like,
best lines of the
damn,
series, one of the
damn,
best
damn.
lines of any media ever, did not make sense to me.
Yeah.
It seemed out of place. It's great, and it makes sense, but I was just like, "Why would he ask that?"
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a melee chaos,
but I think the thing
you know.
is, I think the reason why is so, there's two clear factions of people here. There's the Gormans, and then there's the Empire. And Shiro's not dressed like an Empire soldier or anything. He's not really dressed like any Empire. Like you would, if it was a stormtrooper or any of the Empire like lower level soldiers, like it makes sense. But Shiro looks like just some guy. So why are you trying to beat the crap out of? Like
Yeah.
if there's a if there's a whole rebellion going on, you think most people, if they're not part of the rebellion, are running for their lives because they want nothing to do with it, trying to get away from all the gunfire. This random dude who you have no association with, who does not look like your enemy, so you're like, he's not a soldier. Why is he beating the crap out of me like I stole his lunch? But it's like I could understand why. I'd be like, who are you? Because I'm just like, what the dude? Do you not see what's going on outside? Why are we fighting? We're trying
Well,
to
that's
kill.
why you should have said something like, "I'm on your side,"
Yeah,
because he
maybe,
would have just thought that Cyril was just another Gorman,
maybe.
because he's dressed like a Gorman.
Yeah, but
You
so
know?
does Andor to some extent, which are thing where I'm just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I still think it's just a bizarre occurrence because they're just like of everything that's going on, why is this one random man? I think that it's just the finality of it because, like I said, he says, "Who am I?" or "Who are you?" which devastates Shiro and stuns him, and then Shiro gets shot in the head
Yeah.
and dies, and just how quickly it's over, and just like also it's like that thing is like Andor, he will never
Yep.
know who
Who that guy
Cyril
was,
was,
yeah.
why it mattered so much, and Cyril's just gone. Like just the finality of it. Like it's just like a weird like not metaphor, but like thing of like of life, of just realization of like how something can be so important and pivotal to you and mattered nothing to somebody else. Like to the point, like I said, Andor just gonna like I said, as soon as Cyril died, I imagine Andor had like that was weird. And he's like, oh, time to get back to what was going on and get out of
Yep.
here. And by the time he got back to Yavin, probably will never think of Cyril again. And
Yep,
maybe
yep.
maybe he'll tell Bix in the past, yeah, it was weird. Some weird dude just started beating the crap out of me during the rebellion, which I thought was
Yeah.
strange.
Ruined the mission.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things. I was like, yeah, it's like, yeah, it doesn't even matter.
Yep.
He does. It's just like it's like it's a little sad on some levels because like this was everything to Zero and it doesn't
Yep.
even matter. Cass.
They get into a fight with one of the droids,
Yep.
as they're trying to get away,
Mm-hmm.
which the only way they can stop is by taking it out with a work truck.
Yep.
Like a
Literally cutting it in
Yeah,
half.
yeah. And
Um,
they end up taking the
which
droid
I
pieces.
loved it because
Yep.
like I knew, and the fact that we get him
Oh,
because
as soon as I saw the droids, I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be one of them." And then when I
yeah.
saw the one that lingered on looking at him, I'm like, "It's gonna be that one. That's gonna be
But
the one."
yeah, what is the voice actor for the droid? Because I kind of did spoil that I knew the droid was going to show up before the show, and I didn't know when he was going to show up before the show. Because the actor for the droid said I saw an interview with him where he was just like, yeah, when they gave me the call, I was like, hell yeah, it's like yeah, I get
Are
to
they
be in.
anybody?
Huh? Not no one big now.
Okay.
Just he's just a voice actor, and he was just thrilled to be brought back after being in Rogue One and all that stuff. And then he got the call like, yeah, we're going to get you in a couple episodes of Andor. Yeah, he was just, like you said, just thrilled to get to play the role again.
I feel like we almost gotta say it now. Do we? Okay, K2S0 played by, you say a nobody?
I mean, I didn't even, who is that?
Alan Tudyk.
Oh, is it Alan
It's
Tudyk?
Alan Tudyk.
Oh, I didn't see
Yeah.
that part. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense because he voices everybody.
Like, that's not a nobody, that's
Every,
a somebody.
yeah, that is definitely everybody who's in space. He voices and yeah, anything strange.
That's funny. Uh, so yeah, they take the droid, then we end with a final scene, and I couldn't tell if she was standing over the body of Cyril or not. And so it's Deidre,
Yeah,
and she's crying.
yeah.
She's struggling. And I couldn't tell if that was because Cyril died or because the weight of what she had done, or both.
I think it's both.
Okay.
I think she knows because I don't think she was over the body of Cyril, but I think she just knows that like he's gone. Like whether even if he is alive, Cyril made it very clear like this is over and stuff. But also like the odds of him surviving that, like he had no weapon, he
Yeah.
had no armor, he's just out there in the midst of the chaos. Like she knows like and like
Not that Imperial armor does
I know,
anything.
I know. Let's not talk about that, okay? We saw plenty of stormtroopers just going down from one blast. I'm like, what is the point of this armor?
No,
But
there look, the weapons made no sense because there were some there was like the one rebellion girl
mhm,
gets shot in the shoulder and is dead.
yeah.
And then there's another person gets shot in the stomach.
And he goes on for a
Yeah.
while. Yeah, before yeah. Yeah,
The inconsistency of damage
of
is,
blasters is insane.
yeah.
But I also just to point out, like we did because it was all the rebellion was all televised and we do actually get to see
Yeah.
Cyril's mom watching and crying
Oh,
because
she
she
knows.
also
Yeah.
realizes like my son is there, and there's a high
Well,
probability.
oh, yeah, yeah, the scene with the mom, I assume that that took place some amount of time after the event, like, not hours, but days, so she would
Mm.
have gotten a casualty list.
Oh, I assume. I mean,
She would have gotten notified,
since they showed it while the event was going on, I assume like this is like
but
a live
she wasn't
broadcast.
watching it live with her friends.
Okay,
She
all
was
right,
watching, like, a post-news thing with her support group.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yep. Yeah, I think like I said, I think it's just the weight of everything that's just happened. Because even that thing is, they did make it very clear that. But like I said, Deidre is like I said a lot more morally gray and a lot more following the orders for the Empire. Like I said, probably had some dark side in her. But they did still show that even Deidre was hesitant about
Mhm.
all this. So I
Mhm.
do think the weight of what just happened, knowing that she was the one who told, like the one other commander who shows up and he's like, "I'm the trigger, but you're the finger." Like he like
Yeah.
tells her like you're, which I kind of wonder, but I don't think so because what's his name? Her commander, Pat, I can't remember his name. The what's the
Yeah,
guy
but
over him?
the commander on Coruscant.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he does favor her, so I don't think because there was a part of me like, are they setting her up to be like the fall guy if something happens where they can
No,
just
I don't
tout her
think so.
out?
No, no, no.
But yeah, like I said, I don't think
She's
so.
too useful a tool. You don't
Yeah,
get rid of a useful tool like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
exactly. All right, so we pick up in the next episode, which is called "Welcome to the Rebellion."
Yeah, this one is, like, dealing with the fallout
Yeah.
of what just happened, but definitely a different tone.
Oh yeah, 100% a
Yeah.
different tone.
Whereas, like, the previous 3 and the 3 before that were, like, here's, like, 4 or 5 stories,
Yeah,
and they take place over the course of 3 episodes.
yeah,
These are more, like, encapsulated.
yeah,
Like, one in or the second 1st and 2nd of this set are kinda like one thing, and then the 3rd is kinda like prologue.
yeah. I about to say I see it as all still the same story, but yeah, like I think I like the
But it's
idea.
not
I
stretch
like it like
they're not
prologue.
stretching
I
things
like
across
that
multiple
view.
episodes.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
kinda keeping things more contained
yeah.
in this set, which is
Um,
interesting.
but yeah, so we're picking up on I was gonna say
Coruscant?
Cardassian.
Cardassian!
Damn you,
Planet
Robert.
Cardassian.
But no, we're picking up on Coruscant with Mon Mothma as he arrives. Because yeah, basically, like I said, this is after Gorman. The Empire has been spinning all this as yeah, the Gormans attacked and they revolted, and that's why we're cracking down on them. That's why
Yep,
they're framing the Gormans as the aggressors.
yep, and
But
they arrest Oron,
yeah,
the senator for Gorman,
yep,
for I don't understand why, but they do.
yep.
And then we get Mon with talking with Bail Organa.
Which for whatever reason, and I feel like last season they used the same actor as they used in the prequel trilogy. He only shows up at the end, but still, but for whatever reason they have a different actor for Bell Organa.
They did use a different actor last season, I
Yeah.
believe. But this
Yeah.
season he's shown up. This is the second time he's shown up,
Yeah.
and they use the same actor
Yeah,
in both
so
of
they
those.
use the same actor for this season, but I was just saying like last season and then also at the
Was
end of
Bail
the
Organa in last season?
yeah, he shows up I think once. Only one time. Like he doesn't have a big role, but he shows up I think once. And then like I said, he also is at the end of the prequel trilogy because that he's Leia's adoptive father. If people don't
Yeah,
know,
yep, yep.
that's why they hold the same name. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting they use a different actor. Nothing major. But yeah, so she meets up with Bell Organa, who is he himself is definitely on her side. But we do find out a little bit later that his retinue, people in his retinue, have been
Retinue.
secretly
I'm not familiar with that word.
that those are like your immediate underlings, your group of people. Like let me, if you're a senator, you have a bunch of people who answer to you and do stuff for you. That'd be your retinue of people.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but yeah, we do find a little bit later that
By the way, Andor has always been played by Bail Organa has
mhm,
always been played by Benjamin Bratt.
mm,
What you're thinking of is the Obi-Wan Kenobi show,
mm,
where it was played by Jimmy Smits.
okay.
Yep.
I guess
And
yeah.
Phil Lamar played him in the Clone Wars.
Mm. Oh, real quick, real quick side note. It's just my annoyance at how websites and stuff cover things is so what a big thing that happened in this episode, which we'll get to, Mon Mothma has a speech to the Senate.
Yeah.
Uh there was this article I saw that was talking about like Mon Mothma's speech in Andor was great, but it's missing. You're missing some of the scenes, and we can tell you where to watch them. And I'm like, oh, there's like some unreleased scenes, some additional scenes of Andor out there that people have going around. And what they're talking about is no, they're talking about Rebels. They're talking about Rebels. I'm like,
Mm.
don't phrase it like you know. Yes, I know Rebels exist, but don't phrase like, yeah, we have the additional scenes that you haven't seen. No, you don't. You don't have anything that nobody else has. It's just the show Rebels. If you want to see more of Mon Mothma, go watch Rebels.
Yeah.
That's you don't need to tell me that and
Yeah.
stuff. But I just thought it was so dumb the way they phrased that because I was like, so, leak? There's been a leak? I was like, ooh, no, it's just stupid. Anyways,
Yeah.
back to our coverage of the actual
Yeah,
episode.
so we get Cassian, he's at the gallery shop.
Yep.
The right hand of Luthien. Luthen.
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 Yeah, I was
Yeah.
about to say
She's
Luthen.
grown her hair out quite a bit.
No, she's always had it out. Cause it when she just always wears it up in a
Well,
bun.
she's letting it flow free
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Because whenever she's like out doing her like espionage stuff out and about, she has her hair down, which I really like her with her hair down. I'm like, yeah, it's nice look. When it's up in that tight bun, I'm like, nah, you gotta let it loose, let it free. But anyways, yeah, she got her hair down, and she is recruiting Andor to. Everyone knows that Mon Mothma is going to speak out against the
Yeah.
Empire, and she is recruiting Andor to escort her off the planet. Um, and Bell Organa is his people are supposed to be doing it, but they're like, nah, they got some moles. No, they can't be trusted.
Yeah.
Bell is good, like I said, he is on her side and supports her and is volunteering to stay behind, honestly, and stuff. But yeah, see, his people
Which
can't
is
be trusted.
crazy because he like sets up in the Senate
Mm-hmm.
the ability for her to give her speech. I'm
Yeah,
like, you're over, dude.
yeah, yeah.
Like if you do that, like you're part of the conspiracy or
Yep.
whatever against the
But
emperor.
we do know that he doesn't die until they blow up his
Yeah,
home
this is
planet.
true. This
So,
is
you
true.
know,
This is true.
whatever he did, he
Um,
somehow swayed it where he was able to stay on the
yeah.
Senate long enough to go back home and get blown up with everybody else.
Yeah, we get some scenes where so she's talking with Luthen. She
Yeah,
meets with Luthen. Man, this is the order operations here. So Bail Organa mentions that he found a listening device,
in his
or
yes.
somebody did.
Yeah.
It mentions that they search for a listening device and find one in Mon Mothma's office,
Yep.
and they destroy it.
Yes.
Bad move.
Yeah. That
That
you're
is a
letting them know
golden.
you can feed them
Yeah,
false information. You're
yeah,
also
it's
letting them know
absolutely,
that
yeah.
you're on to
Counter
them.
information.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
when they broke it, I was like, "What are you doing?" Like, yeah,
You're gonna set off alarms when you break it.
don't
Yeah,
talk about important stuff in here anymore. But like, this is perfect.
yeah. So
Come on.
she goes outside to work on the speech because they don't know if there's other listening devices. She
Yeah,
runs into Luthen,
yeah.
where he tells her that he's
Her
sending a guy that
yeah.
someone on Bail Organa's team is not trustworthy and
Yep,
she can't go with him.
and
Um,
also reveals that her right-hand man is
working for
actually
him. Yeah.
Luthen's, which makes her upset and angry, but they do get to, he's a good guy and they do get to reconcile. But anyways, but yeah, so she dismisses him when she returns. She's like, "Nope, you're out. I can't trust you," because she doesn't fully trust Luthen. I feel like, and that's I mean that's what this episode definitely is and that's why
I
it's
mean,
called
nobody trusts
Welcome.
anybody. You
Yeah,
know, it's a very delicate spider web of
yeah.
trust,
But
as they say
still,
in the
with
diplomats.
this title being called "Welcome to the Rebellion," I think it's really pointed at Mon Mothma because I think she's just having her eyes open to how far things have come and
I mean,
how
she's gotta
drastic.
know.
Yes and no, because
She's the money lady.
she's the money lady, but she's still. I think she's still like even in previous episodes when they were talking and stuff. She still views like there's a chance we can do this the right way
Mm,
by passing some bills and getting the empire impeached and getting the rule of law. And I think everybody else but her, like the other factions as we've seen,
yeah,
are like, no, there's only one way this ends. And that's with all out war, and we're gonna have to fight for our freedom. Like, that's the only way this ends. I feel like this episode is her finally realizing, like, yeah, like there was never like I think she believes that like there's a chance, and I think she also believes that everybody else in the factions, the different factions, believe like, yeah, Mon Mothma might be able to save this. And I
yeah,
think this is her realizing, like, oh, there was never a chance. There was never a chance we were going to win this without fighting, without a war, and that they were just allowing me to be up here as a distraction, essentially.
yeah.
Um,
We get a bunch of speeches from other races, other
other senators,
delegations,
yeah,
and they're all
backing
like,
the empire,
"Yep," they're like, "The
staying
aggression of
over.
the Gormans has to be
Mm-hmm.
stopped. It has to be squashed."
Yep.
And then they call it an emergency, the Gorman
The
emergency,
Gorman
and
emergency.
that's when Bail makes a point of order,
Yep.
basically using some Senate rules, which I thought was cool.
Yep.
He's like section blah 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 blah
Mhm.
blah allows me to do this because they did that,
Yeah.
which is fun.
Yep.
I like that's the kind of Star Wars I want.
Mhm.
And then he cedes the floor to Bail
To
Organa.
Mon.
Sorry, Bail Organa.
Yeah. Mon
To
Mothma.
Mon Mothra. There's too
Yep.
many names.
Yep.
Too many obscure weird names. In the Senate on Cardassian. Anyway, she gives a very impassioned speech. It was
Yep.
fine. It didn't
Mhm.
really it wasn't like Churchill,
No, no.
but then at the end she calls out
Yeah,
Palpatine.
directly calls out
I'm
the
like, well, you just
Empire.
dead.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, okay, well, yep. But it's one of the things like, if it wasn't for the fact that we know you're a Return of the Jedi,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, this woman is dead.
yeah,
But no. So she's escorted out, and uh Cassian approaches her and uses the code phrase of "I have friends everywhere" to reveal that he's Luthen's man, and she decides to, she was hesitant to side with Luthen, but she decides to listen to Cassian, go with him. But they are interrupted by Organa's people
yeah,
being like, "We're also here to help." And it's
yeah,
like, and this is where things I think this is where things start to get real for Mon Mothma is that her assistant slash Luthien's man shows up also, gets their attention, and Catherine just bam
yep.
takes out one of them, and and you can just see the shock on her face, like you just shot somebody. It's like, yeah, woman, we're in a
What do
war.
you think we've been
Yeah,
doing?
it's like, what do you think
What
was
do you think
going
your
on
money's
everywhere
paying
else?
for? Like,
Exactly. Like I said, this is just her.
I've been killing people on your dime for quite some time.
Exactly. This is just her eyes being opened, which is like, oh.
Yeah,
Um, but anyways, Andor proceeds to escort her through. Her assistant, I thought he was giving his life for her, but her assistant actually
yeah,
does catch back up with him. And they kind of have a reconcile moment where she realizes like you've been there for me, even though you were Luthien's man, like you've been there for me, and all you were doing was trying to protect me. And they get her to safety. They meet back up with Luthen's second in command. I
yeah,
can't remember her name, Kayla, I think it
yeah.
is. But and also I didn't realize.
By the way, I like the driver.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was I think it was previous set of
Mhm.
episodes where it's like, "Oh, the driver's a spy," and he's like,
Yeah.
"Yep," and he's like, "Should we fire him?" It's like, "No,
No.
they made
It's
someone smart."
someone smarter. Yeah. And but anyway, so they get him to basically to they get him to Cassian's old apartment. That's right.
Yep.
I guess somehow I thought Wilmon was dead, but Wilmon made it there
Well,
with
Wilmon got shot, I think,
yes.
during the no, because it wouldn't have been during the
We
Gorman
don't see him
crisis.
get shot.
Okay.
But him and Dina, I can't remember what his girlfriend.
Yeah.
They have escaped from Gorman.
She's not important.
I thought for sure both of them were dead because yeah, the last time we see Wilmon is when they get to the radio station where they're broadcasting their message of distress, and
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if I'm the Empire, then I'm gonna go blow up that radio
Yeah. Yeah.
station. So I was pretty like, and they're dead, but they're not. So good for them. And then, mission successful. They actually get Mon Mothma into a spaceship, and they head off to Yavin, where Bix and Andor are reunited. And Andor says, "I'm quitting the rebellion.
Yep.
We'll find ourselves a quiet little somewhere in the galaxy, and we're just gonna live a good life and stuff." And Bix seems to go along with it, but when Andor wakes up, he finds a Dear John note. Essentially,
Sorta,
I mean,
sorta,
sort
because it's
of,
not like she's not
yeah,
breaking up with him. She's just like, "You're the Force-sensitive lady
yeah,
told me you are important. I can't let you leave,
yeah.
and you'll leave if I'm here and go with you. So I'm gonna go into hiding until this is all over. So go win it and make it over."
Yeah, and then we'll meet up, but we know that
I'm like,
doesn't happen.
I get this note. I'm like, "Screw you, bitch." Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know he loves her and stuff, but I'm like, I'm not gonna win a rebellion
For
across
you.
the entire galaxy.
You want me to kill the emperor?
Like,
So
I'm
we
you.
can go out again?
And then she gonna ask for a ring on top of that? Like,
Yo, you want a ring?
blowjobs morning, noon, and night, every day,
Day.
no
On
questions,
command.
till the end of life. We gotta spend a lot of time in that back to tank. Okay.
Ah.
Oh, Jesus, Jesus. Anyway,
But yeah,
they
so
love each other.
they
Anyway,
do, they do.
um,
So
And
yeah,
it kind of ends on for such a a really
serious,
powerful 3 set of
yeah,
episodes. It just kind
ends
of
on a
ends with
little
them powering on the
comedic,
droid.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they decide they're gonna boot up the droid, Andor. No one trusts it. They got their guns all pointed on it, and the droid's like, "Have I offended you? If not, I'd appreciate if you point those elsewhere." Which I like I said, just great because love that droid in the
Yep.
movie, and so the fact that we're going to get him hopefully for the next 3 episodes too,
Oh, we
fantastic,
definitely are.
fantastic.
We definitely are. Yeah.
I mean, by the time of Rogue One, you can tell, and like you said, at the end of this episode, I mean, they're just powering on for
Yeah.
the first time, but still very wary of it. Not for things first. By the time Rogue One is here, they're like the best of friends. So I'm like,
Well,
okay,
yeah, because the
they're
droid dies in Rogue One, and it
everyone
was a
dies
very
in Rogue
emotional
One.
moment for
Yeah,
Andor.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's one of those things like, yeah, and it's, I mean, we're probably hopping forward a year, so it's going to be a year later. They've probably going to have been on many missions together,
Oh
had some
yeah.
hijinks. So yeah, they're going to be good friends, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. Good set episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah, every
yeah,
set better than the last,
mm-hmm,
and I really hope that this final set next week is going to be
yeah.
just as good, if not
Just keep,
better.
yeah, exactly.
Fantastic.
All
Uh,
right, got one real quick thing, not about Andor. It's tied into
oh,
Thunderbolts. Just a thing. I saw Article talk about this after watching it, and the thing I was just thinking about is so. We saw Thunderbolts, and if you haven't
yep.
checked out our episode on Thunderbolts, go check it out. If you haven't seen Thunderbolts, go see it.
See it before you listen to our show.
100%.
It's the best.
It
It's really
Yeah,
good.
it's the best MCU film since Endgame, just hands down.
Yeah.
But anyways, this article was talking about how well what's his name, Pullman, I can't remember what his first name is,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
played as Bob, and then it reminded us that he wasn't the original casting. Do
Really?
so you don't know? So do you know who
I didn't
originally was
know.
cast as him?
I'm gonna assume the guy from Lower Decks.
No.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you. So the guy who was cast as him has a very similar set of powers.
The guy who was cast as him.
Yes, has a similar set of powers.
I just,
Has been
the
called
actor?
that he plays a role of another character he plays has a very similar set of powers.
Okay, I got nothing.
So Steven Yeun was originally supposed to be,
Oh, okay.
yeah, was supposed to be Sentry, and now that I've seen it, one's Pullman, which I cannot remember his first name, but I think he killed it as Bob,
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
the Sentry. He was perfect. But I'm just trying, like, I will just be reminded that I'm just trying to like, what do you think? Think Steven Yeun as Sentry? Could you see that in an alternate timeline where he didn't leave?
I could see him playing the first part of it,
Mm-hmm.
not the second part.
Not like the Void and stuff.
Not when he all the way up until the point where he has the battle with the team.
Yeah.
I'm good. Where he's goofy and weird,
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine
Mm-hmm.
with it. The second he's got to be a badass
Yeah.
and then evil, no.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Is like, yeah, could he do it? Like I said, we'll
He's got
never
too much
know.
of a baby face.
Yeah, I mean, so does Lewis Pullman. There it is.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, Lewis Pullman has a pretty baby face himself.
No, his is more like
Look at that face.
rigid.
Look at that face.
Okay, you know what? You're right. You're right.
I mean,
Not like Steven
I
Yeun
think
though.
that's part of the character. I mean, that's the thing is with Bob when he shows up, like he's so innocent and just kind of random weird dude.
Yeah.
That I think that's part of the thing is you need kind of somebody baby face to play him.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the same degree as Stephen Young, but yeah, I just thought that was interesting when I saw that article. I do remember originally when they were talking about the Thunderbolts and they announced that Stephen Young had left the production and stuff. And they
Bad move.
yeah,
I
bad
wonder
move.
why.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe
I mean,
got it.
Steven Yeun's kind of been doing some serious work,
He's been doing serious
like Oscar
work.
nomination
Yeah,
stuff. You know, maybe
yeah.
he doesn't want to be in the MCU. You know.
I mean, that I mean, it's a good slash bad, not bad thing, but just time consuming thing. Is like if you sign up to do a MCU movie, you're pretty much guaranteed, which is a good thing. You're guaranteed, like you're probably going to get at least one or
Yeah.
two more movies, but you don't know how much of a commitment it's going to be. I mean, I mean, it's only him, but still, what's his face? He played Chris Hemsworth. He's still playing Thor.
Yeah.
He's cast in the next Avengers movie. So it's just like, yeah, you're locked in, which is a great thing on one note because hey, you got guaranteed work, guaranteed money, fantastic. But on another note, like might mix you up where you can't do other stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was interesting to
Funny.
think about.
As always, you can find us on our website, watchingitpod.com. There you can find links to our social media and to email us, watchingitpodcast@gmail.com. Donnell, what else should they do?
I mean, we have been talking about Andor, of course, and stuff. Our take that it is some of the best Star Wars out there, and I just want to know, what are you guys feeling? Do you feel, that this is what could be if Disney wants to continue making Star Wars, maybe to lean more into this avenue, because I think that would be interesting to see more stuff like this. So yeah, drop us a line to give us your thoughts. Also, give us your thoughts on the Thunderbolts, because I've been wanting to see it again, Robert. I've been sitting like, man, I want to.
It'll come out for download sooner than later.
I know. I'm waiting, but I'm just like, man, that was a good movie. I'd like to see it again. And so yeah, go watch Thunderbolts, and then as always, give us any ratings, reviews, and 5 stars. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.